Hey everyone, welcome to the Creative Wedding Podcast. This is Austin and Jessica. We're just excited that you're tuning in to episode 1. Can't believe it's happening.
I can't believe you've talked me into this either.
Yeah.
But here we are. I really am very excited to be doing this. You'll learn a little bit about us as we go. But Austin really is the dreamer out of the two of us. And he's been kind of asking me to do this and thinking about doing this for quite a while. So
Finally
I
pulled your legs
caved.
hard enough, I guess.
Yes. And here we are. And yeah, thank you for listening.
So in today's podcast, we're just going to be telling you a little bit about us. We just wanted to share who we are. So as you listen to our podcast, you know who you're listening to.
We are a husband and wife photo and video team. And right now, kind of in where we are at with our business, we have jumped off the deep end and thrown ourselves into weddings. And honestly, it's the dream job that I never knew that I wanted to do.
That's a good way of phrasing that.
Yeah, I love it. I mean, if you had told me even 3 years ago that I would be doing this with you, I wouldn't have believed you, let alone when I was a little girl. But truly, we love it, don't we?
Yeah. And I mean, I started the business, 5 years ago?
Nearly 5 years ago.
5 years ago. Wow. And I was doing photo and video stuff before that for a nonprofit. And I really wanted to specialize in more corporate gigs. And I was doing website and graphic design, but I really loved video. And so I was starting to do a lot more commercial work and things like that. And then when Jessica decided she wanted to jump on 2 years ago, she was like, we're not doing any of that anymore. We are doing weddings together because think of how fun that would be. And at first I was really the one dragging my feet and I wasn't sure how I felt about that. I had done some weddings by myself before, and when I was doing them by myself, they just weren't fun for me. I also just didn't know what I was doing at the end of the day. But now, we mostly do weddings. We do very little corporate work anymore. I mean, when the right client comes along, we'll take it on. But we primarily do weddings and we just love it. And it's the fact that we get to do it together.
Yeah, I definitely wouldn't want to do it solo, that's for sure. But I do. We make a very, very good team. You've taken the lead on video, and I've stepped up to the plate for photo. And I think we've both.
You don't give yourself enough credit with photo. She rocks photo, but she just doesn't want to admit it.
Yeah. So it is. It's. I would say 2.5 years ago, I quit 3 jobs, and jumped on board with Austin because he was doing this. Well, he was doing it full time as well as we were both working for a church. And we just felt like we couldn't give the creative our everything without also, working another job that took time and effort and attention away from us. And I think we would have always wondered what if we hadn't pursued doing this together full time. What's also really crazy to think about is Austin touched on it too. If he would go, he would film weddings by himself, and it would be a Saturday, and he would get up early, and he would have his bags packed, and he would be like, "Okay, babe, love you, see you in 12 hours," and he would walk out the door, and I would. Well, I mean, I'm fine. I spent the day with my dog, and I did whatever I did, but it's just so wild because even back then, what was it, 2.5 years ago? Well, maybe a bit longer than 2.5 years ago.
True, yeah.
When he started the business, it didn't even cross my mind that I could come with you, that I could second shoot for you. I could literally just be with you and hand you lenses and, fluff the bride's dress and be a help that way. We have come a very long way in not a really long amount of time either. But yes, it's funny to think about that I would send him out the door and he would be gone for, hours at a time. Shooting weddings solo, and it wasn't even for us at this point, was it?
Right.
You were associate shooting for another videographer, but I don't actually even really know what it was that. Do you know what it was?
What that made us want to do weddings? Well, I think you're a woman who loves weddings. I mean, what woman doesn't, right? So, as a guy, I didn't quite see the appeal of it, but the more we've done it and structure our business in a way where we really try not to be as much business people, although I do love business and I love growing the business. I'm kind of addicted to it. We really treat our clients like friends. And so for us, the appeal has been making friends along the way. I love that we get to meet new people all the time and become close enough to them that we get to be a part of their big day. And the draw for us is that we don't just show up on the day not knowing them. We try to get to know them over the course of months or years sometimes, so that we can enjoy their day with them.
Yeah, absolutely. We're so intentional about building relationship. Like that's a real like core value to us, as people, but as our business. Like, yeah, we want people to feel seen and heard and valued in the lead up to their wedding and their wedding day. Like we arrive knowing that we're going to a friend's wedding. Yes, we're working, absolutely. But we're going there to celebrate with them because we have built relationship with a couple in the lead up to their wedding. And I do think that's really, really special. And it ultimately helps the day like go 10 times better, because essentially when you hire like a photographer or a videographer, you're saying spend the most amount of time with us on a wedding day. Yeah. We really are with you or with couples more so than their wedding party. And we've got cameras in their faces and we're asking them to kiss and make out throughout the day. If we didn't have a relationship or know them beforehand, it's awkward if you don't know them. So that is a huge part of how we approach wedding days and build a relationship, for sure.
For sure. I think we should touch more on our story.
Yeah.
I think we can talk weddings
all day, every day, 24/7.
It is.
I will happily talk weddings all the time.
She will. And the reality is it is our livelihood. We live for weddings. So it's easy for us to do that. And we have plenty of other episodes that we can talk wedding, but let's just share a little bit more about our story, maybe how we met, how we came to this place. We shared in short already, I feel like, but let's maybe give them a little more.
Yeah.
Give them some meat.
So actually, just in 2 days, well, not maybe once this goes live, but we're about to celebrate our 5th wedding anniversary.
Oh, really?
Yeah, when's that anniversary, Austin?
In 2 days.
Yeah, I saved him on that one. I mean, we tell people that we met in Australia because we genuinely did. Our paths crossed a little bit when we were over there. I would say we went around in like different circles and had different friend groups.
Maybe said hi a couple times.
Yeah. Austin actually broke was it your foot?
Yeah.
Ankle? He broke his foot when he was over there, and I kind of knew him as like the tall American guy on crutches.
That's a good way to be known.
Yeah, that's definitely like kind of, I knew who you were.
Was I hot?
Yeah, you were hot.
That's all that matters to me. If you're like checking out that tall American guy on crutches.
You had terrible hair, like the slicked back hair. Austin has dreads now. I don't know if maybe you didn't know that, which they're just as bad as the slick back hair in my opinion.
Oh my goodness, come on.
But yes, that is how we met. We met in Australia, and actually we reconnected a couple years later after a couple failed relationships on both of our parts. And I think we both found ourselves, we reconnected on Facebook chat, which do people still Facebook chat? I don't know.
Some.
But we were both out of breakups that I would say both of us didn't necessarily see coming. And I think we just found comfort in knowing that we were experiencing maybe the same kind of a heartbreak and upset.
Yeah, we were going through the same dirt together.
Yeah, so our relationship really did kind of blossom, honestly, to begin with, long distance. I was in Australia. Austin spent time between Iowa and Hawaii during that time. And for the first 9 months of our relationship, it was a lot of really late nights for Austin because he would stay up until very, very late.
Like 5 a.m.
to talk to me. But it was a lot of FaceTiming and a lot of iMessaging. Because we were thousands of miles apart. My best friend got married in Denver, and I was a bridesmaid in her wedding, and so I knew that I would be coming over to America. And, well, at the time, I didn't know where Iowa was on the map compared to Colorado, but I was like, hey, Austin, look, I'm coming to America. We need to meet up and see if you're as awesome as you are over chat. in real life. So we did. I flew over and Austin picked me up in Minneapolis, and we spent 2 weeks together in Iowa before we road tripped to Colorado together for my best friend's wedding. And as a 20, how old was I? Like 20, maybe 23. I think I was 23,
Sure.
22. Actually, I think I turned 23 on that trip, and you asked me to be your girlfriend on that day.
Oh, I made you omelets in bed or something like that.
Yeah, you did. You bought me omelets in bed.
And then later on, you told me you didn't really like them.
No, he chopped up tomato and put them in the omelette, and I'm not a big fan of chopped tomato. Anyways, besides the point, he was very sweet, and as a young, 20-something, that 2-week trip to America was like incredible.
We had a lot of fun.
We had so much fun.
And how we somehow, because of that trip, and we'll get into it, but somehow we ended up back in Iowa.
Yeah, it's a really, really quick way to go
sorry,
about
I
it.
didn't mean to cut you off. We'll get to that eventually.
Yeah, so I was here for I think 2.5 weeks, and then Austin actually, during that time, he had even applied for his Australian visa, and he was going to come back out to Australia and be with me over there. So we said a very sad goodbye at the end of that 2 weeks. He had to stay because at that point his visa hadn't been approved. I've cried a lot of tears at Des Moines Airport. And yeah, I don't know how long it was later, but you flew over to Australia, and we literally a couple months later you proposed.
Yeah.
And we got engaged. So we were living in Townsville in Australia, and then 6 months later, I would say we've had a fairly quick, once we were together, we had 9 months of talking online, but once, and then we became official. I didn't want to be his girlfriend until I had hung out with him in person.
Make sure I was real and not catfishing you.
But I definitely knew that I liked him. So he came over to Australia, we got engaged, and then we planned a wedding in England, actually, which is where I'm originally from, 6 months later. That's a little bit of a crazy story in and of itself, because Austin's parents were in America, and my parents at the time lived in Papua New Guinea, which is tiny, tiny little island. Maybe not tiny, tiny, but a little island, bottom of Indonesia, above Australia. We were in Australia ourselves, and nobody was on the ground in England, and we planned a beautiful wedding, and we got married in my grandma and granddad's front garden, and that was a dream.
It was. It's amazing that it came together, and literally came together perfectly.
Yeah, it did.
I don't know how it all happened, but it worked. We did it.
We did it. And we had a fantastic photographer and a videographer too. And I want to share a little bit about, how we even came to be wedding videographers today.
Go for it.
Truly, at the time, Austin and I, when we were getting married and planning this wedding, I would say wedding videography has kind of become more and more popular within the last few years.
For sure.
Not that we've been married that long, but it at the time, it wasn't necessarily something that we thought we needed, because I guess I'd only really known about, getting wedding photos. But it was actually my mum that was like, I don't care if you two don't want wedding video. I want it. And so this will be my gift to you. And so it was my parents that gifted us wedding video. Truly the best gift we have ever received, because yes, we had an amazing photographer, but it is our wedding video that I go back and rewatch over and over and over again.
It's true.
Austin only needs to hear the start of the music of our video, and I'll be upstairs, and he'll be like, Jessica, why are you watching this again? And I'm like, why wouldn't I watch this again? Because it's truly the best day of our lives, and I just want to see it again.
I think I watched it once, and I don't know that I've
You've
ever
watched
fully
it
watched
more
it
than
again.
once.
I've definitely heard it many, many times. I know the audio by heart. I just don't often watch it with you. I'm not as sappy as you are, maybe. I don't know.
Sentimental.
Yeah.
Anyways, so that's a little bit how we got into it. We truly think that people deserve to remember how they felt and remember how they looked and remember the little details that otherwise would go missed about their wedding day. And what a joy and what a gift to be able to watch it. Yes, a month after your wedding day, but 5 years on, 10 years on, being able to show your kids one day, being able to sit down and show your grandkids. I just think I'm excited to be able to do that, because I think that is incredible. where like technology and stuff is today to allow people to do that.
That's true. And even just how far wedding videos have come. I think a lot of people think wedding video and they think like their Uncle Don in the back on a tripod with a camcorder. Like you gotta have a VHS player to play it, that kind of thing. And really now they have just become so incredible. It's like watching a movie sometimes, but you're the star. So I think that's neat, just how far technology has come and how we're able to enjoy ours 5 years later, and we're only going to be able to enjoy that for a lifetime and longer. Hopefully it gets passed down. But
yeah, and like following on from that, like it's really not lost on us that we're able to do that for other people, that people trust us to capture like the best day of their lives, and we get to like create this amazing like keepsake video.
Yeah, that's why we do what we do.
It is why we do what we do.
We had it done for us, and it was a gift, and we didn't expect it.
I just don't think we saw the value in it. We knew what the value was.
Yeah, you don't know the value until it's after.
Absolutely.
At the end of the day, like.
And we've heard like so many people say, as we've like, told people what we do and like share on Instagram and our stories and post and stuff. One of the biggest things that we hear from couples who are married that didn't get a video, it's like their biggest regret.
For sure. We hear it all the time. Or we kind of rounded up $500 to pay someone who kind of knew what they were doing. And we hear even how that ended like in not a great way, or they're just not super happy, So you get what you pay for, but we're not here to talk about that. I would say, really, I mean, I don't know where you left off with our story, but maybe we just kind of finish that off, because we did end up in Iowa.
Yeah,
somehow.
We did. So we got married in England and we went back to Australia.
Yeah.
And we wrapped up our time there 6 months later. We bought round the world tickets that stopped off in Switzerland and England and America, and then back to Australia, where we were going to move to a new location and kind of start fresh as newlyweds.
I still dream about the Sunshine Coast of Australia, especially living in Iowa.
It's so true. We did. We went to Switzerland for a few days. It was just before Christmas, and it was like the most magical winter I've ever had. And we went to England for Christmas, and we spent that with my family, which was super fun. And then we were actually there for, I think, 3 months, which I think is actually what your visa was allowed. So maybe a little bit less than 3 months.
We bought a donut trailer.
We did buy a donut trailer. We had this little dream that actually made us second guess Australia from the get-go.
Yeah.
We bought a donut trailer that we were going to like renovate and like sell ice cream and coffee and like do our like fun little entrepreneurial thing. Yeah. You'll learn about Austin maybe as these episodes go on. He is the biggest dreamer and so entrepreneurial and just wants to have his fingers in different businesses. He's incredible, but it's a bit overwhelming for me. Anyways.
It's a bit overwhelming for me too. So
he talked me into this and we bought a donut trailer. Well, we then still had tickets to America because Austin's parents threw us a reception in Iowa for a lot of people. Well, for friends and family of Austin's that weren't able to come to England. And so we were here for that. And that was super fun as well. And like getting to meet all of, Austin, it comes from a massive family. So I met more family that day. And also a lot of his college friends and childhood friends, just meeting Austin's people.
But there was a lot of people I didn't know. I would say the majority of our guests, it was quite a big reception that my parents threw. It was mostly their friends. So they were very generous to us, my parents and their friends. So I'm so thankful.
Absolutely. And it was so fun getting to put my dress on again.
Yeah, it was a blast, really.
It was really fun. My brother and sister flew out for it, actually. So yeah, it was like a second reception, which actually realistically is what we've seen so much of this year, haven't we, with COVID?
That's true.
Having small weddings and then receptions.
We were the original COVID.
There you go. We were the original double reception without COVID.
There it is. Yeah.
You saw it here first, people.
I'm sure they've seen it other places too.
So we came to Iowa for that. And I had a visa that was valid for 6 months at a time. So we came with the intention of obviously the reception, maybe sticking around for a few weeks, hanging out with his parents and his sister. And we ended up moving in with Austin's friend and his wife, who so graciously let us live with them literally for 6 months. It ended up being six
We
months.
became like squatters in their house.
Yeah, we really did.
They thought they were going to have us for like 2 weeks tops. And
Yeah.
6 months later.
Mary and Jacob, we love you. But no, it turned out, honestly, we say this as we joke about it and like reminisce now. That summer was like the best 8 weeks of ever. Okay, yeah, it was. It was like the summer of dreams, because we came here and we had friends that were like finishing up their masters, who were teachers and had the summer off. Everybody just happened to not be working, and my visa didn't allow me to work, so I wasn't doing anything. Austin ran a frozen yogurt shop and kind of managed that just for a little bit of income.
Yeah.
But we had like this amazing summer, and Austin has all these incredible college friends that were either married to or dating incredible girls that like welcomed me in, and it was like coffee in the mornings and yoga of an evening, and like we just had a fantastic couple of months and I really saw what like real community looked like, and that made us go, hang on a sec, we found this and we haven't ever seen this done before. Not necessarily not done before, but we've not been a part of something like this. Why would we choose to walk away from it? So fast forward like maybe 5 months, and it got to like, I would say maybe like a week or so before we had to like make a decision.
We were very last minute decision makers.
Very last minute decision makers. But we knew in the back of our head that we could go back to England, we could go to Australia, which we had these tickets that like left Iowa and like landed in Sydney, or we fill out the green card application and we submit my green card application. And that is actually what we did. I think we kind of rounded up. It must have been more than a week, because there was so much information that we had to do for that.
Well, we were definitely toying with the idea for a little while.
And we had found a lawyer like an immigration lawyer that was really brilliant. And so I guess we knew in the back of our minds like what needed to be done. But ultimately, how we came to be in Iowa is we submitted my green card application, and I mean that was that's an episode in and of itself.
For sure.
But that took 14 months, but it allowed me to be here forever.
I kind of wish we would have just gone 90 Day Fiancé style and had it all on camera the whole way through.
But yeah, and here we are. And so Iowa, we're in Iowa because that's where Austin grew up, where Austin's family are. And it has been the most, I mean, don't get me wrong, there are days that we question how we ended up in Iowa compared to the sunny coast, Australia, where
probably every day.
Yeah, where we thought we were going to be. And like, absolutely, there's days that I'm like, flip, I wish I was closer to my family. But truly, it has been the greatest little hub to get our business up and going and find our feet and kind of find our people and our niche in what we want to do in a smaller community.
Yeah, we're just figuring out as we go, I guess. Like, this isn't home forever, I don't think. I could eat those words, but the dream is to not live in Iowa forever, or at least not small town Iowa like we are. But it's been perfect for us. We've found amazing friends.
Yeah.
Even though we did switch towns, from that summer you were talking about with all the amazing community that we had, we did move away from that, which sometimes
we question that a little bit sometimes.
Sometimes we kick ourselves for that. But we moved to a community where we knew we could like afford to buy a house and kind of plant ourselves, because really we had just traveled for years and years.
I lived out of a suitcase. Well, we both did. Yeah. We were so good. I mean, we came here with a suitcase apiece.
Yeah, it was crazy.
Yeah, now we have more than a suitcase apiece. But we were really minimalist.
We had to be.
Yeah. But I was so desperate to like pick out a duvet and hang things on walls and like just put some roots down.
Yeah, we were just ready to be kind of settled as much as we could. And that was when I started the business. Literally, we moved to this other town, and at the same time of buying a house, which thanks to my parents for helping us like sign the papers, we paid all the bills, but we couldn't have done it otherwise. We were broke, just had some savings that we were living on. And at the same time, we were like, we don't have jobs there. We are just hoping that things work out. So, I started the business then, and I'm just so grateful that it worked out.
Me too. And that brings us to here and with our podcast. If you have made it this far, I'm very impressed and very grateful. But hopefully you feel, we want this like, I don't know how many episodes there's going to be, but we want this to feel like you can turn this on and like feel like you're hanging out with us, and that you know us, and that, you know, it's like listening to two friends.
Does that mean we need to like leave room for pause for them to speak back to us?
No, none of that.
Okay, I think that'd be kind of clever. You don't hear a lot of podcasts do that.
Yeah. So seriously, thank you for listening. This won't always be weddings. Not that it necessarily has always been weddings, this episode, but like we want it to be what is relevant and what you want to hear. So we are open to suggestions and feedback, and we hope to actually bring some past couples on and some probably some future couples. We've got some vendors lined up. We have dreams for this.
Yeah,
Honestly, I'm surprised that I'm as excited about it as I am, because this was absolutely Austin's thing.
She's more excited than I am now, because I now have to think about editing each of these episodes.
Yeah, I don't do the editing.
The
I just do like the chatting.
Which you're fun to listen to, so it's fine. I think most of our listeners are like, oh, just let her talk more, because that's what we hear so much of.
Yeah, I mean, he's not wrong with that. But I hate that too. So if you like listening to me, just appreciate it, but don't tell me, because I feel awkward. But yeah, we want this to be not necessarily for, please be married and listen to this. Be single and listen to this.
Just be our friends.
Be our friends. We're just sharing what we're learning. We're not going to always get it right. I feel like we're barely getting it right. But this is fun.
We're just here to have fun. So thanks for listening. This is episode 1, and episode 2 will be coming at you soon.
See you next time.
Bye.
Bye.